Warfare is an A24 film directed by Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland. Ray Mendoza is an Iraq war veteran who lent his expertise and memories and to develop the film and co-directed with Alex Garland, who had a really big hit with Civil War last year. Civil War was A24's highest budgeted film, so it was a big hit, so they teamed up for another movie. This one's about a team of U.S. Navy SEALs who are doing a recon mission. They sequester two families in a house and take over and commandeer it so they can spy on a building across the street. However, a jihad is announced and militants show up, armed locals trying to kill Americans show up and attack them, and they put themselves surrounded by the enemy. This movie is probably one of the most accurate showcases of modern warfare and what it's like. To be honest, modern warfare is really boring. A lot of films like to play up action, you know, like shooting the enemy, huge body counts. That's not really how it is in modern warfare. Modern warfare is about technology, how much ammunition you have. You know, the U.S. Marines and the Navy SEALs in this movie have less numbers, but they have more support. They have air support, they have communications, they have weapons. The enemy they're fighting have a lot more bodies, but they're all amateurs, and they have, you know, it's not less training, but it evens out, and it showcases, you know, how overwhelming the forces can be if you don't have your support. And you know, lots of ammunition is used in this film. However, only one enemy is shown being killed, because that's what modern warfare is like. It's usually spraying down, suppressing fire, trying not to get hit, and trying to get out or into places. And the movie's just a little bit too accurate. You know, the dialogue is mostly done in code. Lots of waiting around for commands, brutal violence when it comes to injuries and trying to like save people, and how much technology you have. If you can get out your person in a certain amount of time, you can save their life. But it's almost like an unseen enemy. If you've ever played paintball, it's the same way. Like, honestly, if you play paintball and you don't buy enough paintballs for your gun, and you run out in the middle of a match, you just basically spend the whole match hiding because you can't shoot at anyone. But if you buy a bunch, then you can, you know, lay down suppressing fire and walk around more and be more confident, and essentially, you know, keep people in certain places hiding because you're shooting so much at them. So that's kind of like what modern warfare is like. The Americans will use a lot of ammunition. It's not about trying to kill the enemy. It's about trying to suppress fire. And, you know, obviously the tactics in this movie are great, but the problem is the movie is too realistic to the point where there are no themes, and there's not really much of a narrative. It's just 90 minutes of what it's like to be in the war and at that time period. And there's also another movie that does this too. There's a movie called The Outpost from 2019. That one had a really good cast as well. It was about like an outpost in a valley that gets attacked, and they have to hold out until backup shows up. And that movie is very similar too. It's not much of a, in terms of theme, it's I guess, and you could say that it's kind of a heroic stand off against enemy forces and the heroic men who were able to not get wiped out. But that's not, you know, this movie even has less than that. You know, there's no cliche scene of like, oh, hey, this is a picture of my wife and kid, I can't wait to see them after this mission. Or they don't have, you know, a evil villain with a beard going like, we must push out the vicious Americans, the filthy invaders that want our land or whatever. The movie doesn't have any of that stuff, but it's kind of like Civil War was the same way, where you didn't really have politics. It was mostly just a road trip. This movie's the same way. It doesn't want to take any risks with having any message, being like warfare is awful or being in the military is stressful and terrible. But it also doesn't glorify the warfare, because you get to see what happens when you get maimed during enemy encounters and bombs and things like that. So the movie doesn't want to go one way or another. It doesn't want to have any risks. It doesn't take any risks narratively or theme-wise, because it doesn't want to. So it ends up feeling just like a sort of immersive experience. And there's nothing wrong with that. The movie's very immersive. The camera work's amazing. The mix of CGI and real sets, the tactics, realistic dialogue and lingo, essentially just waiting, trying to outweigh the enemy, not really trying to kill them, just trying to survive. All of that's great, and it makes for a really intense experience in theaters. You know, obviously this movie, I wish I'd seen The Outpost in theaters, but that was 2019 around, you know, the certain events. But yeah, Warfare has a good cast. It's entertaining to a point where it's almost gratuitous in trying to show you how realistic it is. But overall, it doesn't have much in terms of theme or narrative or emotion. So also the little montage at the end kind of takes you out of the realism by having all the behind the scenes. It's almost like showing behind the scenes stuff in your credits, but kind of takes you out a little bit. So I'll give Warfare a 6.5 out of 10.